Hello, fellow Rotarians and guests. I'm Lori Alton, and I'm honored to serve as your club president for the Rotary year 2021-2022. The Rotary Club of Columbus has a storied past, beginning in 1915, when a group of civic-minded people saw the need for leaders to come together to find ways to make our community better. And now, 106 years later, we're a vibrant, strong club that continues to place service above self. Our club is diverse, with members across all sectors of business, government, military, healthcare, education, nonprofit and community service, ministry, and the arts. And we come together each week as friends with a shared purpose of learning how we can be more involved in the things that matter to all of us. And we leave committed to changing our community and changing lives. As Rotarians, we are people of action, and it shows. So welcome back to Rotary. Thank you for being here, and thank you for making a difference in our community. Well, hello and welcome to the January 19th meeting of the Rotary Club of Columbus. What a pleasure to look out and see all of you here. For those of you watching online, a warm welcome to you as well. Now would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I would like to ask Ian Bond to bring us today's invocation in accordance with his faith tradition.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty God, in your unconditional love and unlimited compassion, you give us your gracious Spirit that we might love you with all of our heart, mind, and strength, and love our neighbor. Inspire us today and every day to be guided by the Rotary four-way test. Empower us to live each day by the Rotary motto, service above self. For the food provided for us today and the friendship of fellow Rotarians and guests, we thank you. In your name, amen. Please remember the Feed the Hungry cans, or you can do it by Venmo.
And the hungry. Hungry. And now it's my pleasure to call on President-elect Cedric Hill to introduce today's visiting Rotarians and guests. And I believe we have several wonderful visitors. So, President-elect Cedric.
Sorry it take so long to get before you. It's a great day in the neighborhood. It always is when we have members and guests that would join us for lunch. Let's kind of start with our visiting Rotarians, if we would. Matt Swift has David Bell Isle from the Alpharetta, Georgia Club. Welcome, David. And Jeremy Brown. Both of those guys are from Alpharetta. Welcome. And then let's go further to our guest, Ms. Gail Burgos. Saw Gail when she came in. Gail is a guest of Joe Young, and Gail is a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, also the executive director of Girls Inc. Welcome, Gail. We have Frank Lumpkin. Frank Lumpkin is a guest of Edgar Chancellor. Welcome. And then Reggie Lewis has three guests, and many of you all are very familiar with the Cure Violence project that we've been working on for some time in Columbus, so we're proud to be able to introduce you to what we call our ambassador for interrupters, Mr. Jerome Lawson. Jerome, if you would stand. And Kyle Vicks, which is a video whiz that you'll be seeing more of him also. And Mr. KD is what he references himself as, if you would. KD, welcome. We also have several guests of our program and our speakers today. And we'll start with Laura Taft. Laura. And Laura is the council commissioner. And Scarlett Guzman is a program executive. And we have Cal Mathis Cal Memphis is the district executive, and then Rod Barber. Okay. Incoming council president, and Mr. Charles Huff with the council. Mark Strunk. Mark, welcome. We also have Bill Story, who's council volunteer, and Ted Woolton. Ted, where are you? Welcome. We have Matt Barkley. Told you we had several people today, so we got a lot of folks to welcome. And Kevin Nelson. Welcome, Kevin. And Jeremy Brown. So if you would join me in welcoming our visiting Rotarian guests and guests of our program today.
Thank you, President-elect Cedric. Wonderful group of visitors. One of my favorite things that we do each week is to welcome and honor a military guest. And so it's my pleasure to ask Dick Nurnberg to please come up and introduce today's Colonel Ralph Puckett Jr., Soldier of the Week.
President Laurie, fellow Rotarians, it's my honor today to introduce you to Master Sergeant Robert Beauchamp, who is an 11 Bravo infantryman. He is in the office of the Chief of Infantry at Fort Benning, and he is in charge of the Expert Infantry Badge program. The Expert Infantry Badge is a very difficult test to pass, and he obviously has passed that. He also has the Combat Infantryman's Badge because he has 11 combat deployments, 3 in Iraq and the rest of them in Afghanistan. He is a Ranger. He is experienced in almost everything you can think of in the Army. He has been a leader at a whole bunch of positions. He's been to a whole bunch of schools. He has a bunch of awards, including the Combat Infantryman's Badge. He was, for 19 months, a kennel master when he was stationed with the Rangers at Fort Stewart, and his kennels included the one here at Fort Benning. Is that correct? Okay. He is going to be leaving. He's been here for about 3 years this time. He previously served in the 3rd Battalion, 75th Rangers, as well as the 1st Battalion. He will be leaving this summer to go to the 173rd Airborne Brigade in Vicenza, Italy, a very difficult assignment. He is married, and he has 3 children. He has a 7-year-old daughter and twin boys, a 9-year-old daughter, twin boys age 7. And Sergeant Beauchamp, we are very proud to have you today, and we please ask you to take back to your fellow soldiers at Fort Benning our appreciation for everything you and they do for us and our country. And in recognition of that, we have a few tokens for you. One of them is a challenge coin, a Rotary challenge coin. Don't be caught without it. Another is a certificate, because you are the Colonel Ralph Puckett Soldier of the Week, and I know you know who Colonel Puckett is. We wish he could be here with us today, but he's not up to it. We have a passport for the arts, which entitles you 2 tickets, and we assume you're probably going to want to take your wife, to the River Center for the Performing Arts, the Columbus Symphony Orchestra, the paid exhibits at the National Infantry Museum, Columbus State Theater Department, and the Springer Opera House. And you take that, so 5 dates between now and next summer. And we have for you a book authored by Colonel Puckett, by Ralph, and this book is presented to you on recognition and appreciation for the dedicated service to your country, and it's signed by Ralph Puckett, and I guess there's not a dedication, and it is a card describing what he did to earn the Medal of Honor. And so we have that, and we thank you and appreciate you and wish you the best of luck in Italy.
So I wanted to thank you guys all for having me here. It's truly an honor to be standing here in front of everybody that's given back so much to this community. I know Dick mentioned it, but if you equate the time I've been here with my wife and kids, I mean, they were both born, or all 3 of them will be born over at Midtown. We've been here for a total of like 12 years. So to see this community grow is truly been an honor and a privilege. So thank you.
Master Sergeant Beauchamp, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you, and we hope that you'll come back again and see us before you leave, okay? Okay, thank you. You know, it's a special day when we can induct a new member into our club, and so it's my special pleasure at this time to ask Larry King to please introduce our newest Rotarian.
Thank you, President Lori. Fellow members, it's my privilege to introduce today Reverend Thad Haygood. In June of this past year, Thad became the senior minister at St. Luke United Methodist Church. One interesting note, Thad's dad, Reverend David Haygood, was an associate pastor at St. Luke back in 1966 to 1970. So it's very, very interesting. Thad is a graduate of Young Harris College back when Young Harris was a two-year institution. He went from there to Athens, the University of Georgia, and graduated in 1995. I can't believe I'm standing here listening to that, but some things, as one of our members said, I was improving my image today, so maybe that's the case. Getting back on task, he graduated from Candler School of Theology at Emory in 1998. Thad has served in quite a few capacities in the South Georgia Conference of the Methodist Church, from being in Albany to Cuthbert as a pastor there, and also the chaplain at Andrew College, also in Perry, Georgia, also in Dublin. And in Dublin, he was a member of the Dublin Rotary Club while he was there at the Dublin First Methodist Church. He came to Columbus from First United Methodist Church in Albany. Thad is married to the former Laura Douglas, who is a Columbusite, and they have two daughters, Gentry, who is a freshman at Auburn. Yep. Be careful what you say. And Ruthie, who is a junior at Brookstone. One thing I'd like to mention that in about the second Sunday of December, in Thad's sermon that Sunday, he had made mention that he was certainly a big Braves fan and that the Braves had won the World Series. And looking forward, what if a miracle might happen and Georgia win the national championship? He made the statement then, he said, the second coming may be closer than we all think. For the last couple of weeks, I've thought about that a couple of times, so we're warned. Thad, I'd like to give you this Rotary pen and also this brochure and packet for new members, and welcome back to Rotary. And if y'all would all join me in welcoming Thad Haygood.
Thank you, Larry and Thad. What a pleasure to have you in our club. As a former Rotarian, you know the drill. You got to show up every week, or we come looking for you. But we're thrilled to have you. This club has over a 100-year history. In fact, we were club number 200 out of over 35,000 clubs around the world. And so we all look forward to getting to know you and serving alongside you. I just have a few quick announcements. First and foremost, I'm so excited to welcome back Haisha. Haisha, there you are. So glad that you're back from the holidays and your brief stint with COVID. So we are so happy to have you back. It's not the same without you. And I talked with our district governor, Mary Ligon, yesterday, and Mary was she's planning the district conference, and she was telling me a little bit about what she's planning, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so if any of you are interested in sun and fun and golf and all those kinds of things in late April, early May, please let Julie know. Sign up, take your family down to Sandestin, and enjoy the district conference. We have a breakfast mix coming up this Friday, and our speaker this month will be Michael Tollier. And so I'm really, really looking forward to that. That's via Zoom, so we can do that from the comfort of our homes. And then lastly, again, thank you all for wearing your mask except when eating and putting those back on after you eat. I really appreciate you helping us all stay safe. So joining me today at the head table, we have Ian Bond, who brought us today's invocation. And now it's my pleasure to call on Ron Williams to introduce today's speaker.
Good afternoon, President Lori, fellow Rotarians. It is my honor to present my dear friend and fellow Rotarian, Juan Osorio, who currently serves as the Scout Executive of the Chattahoochee Council, Boy Scouts of America, where he has served for the past 3 years. Prior to starting in Columbus, Juan served the Narragansett Council in Providence, Rhode Island, in various roles for 13 years. Juan was born in Medellin, Colombia, and came to the United States at a very young age. Growing up in a single-parent, low-income household, he adapted to his new home in the U.S. very quickly and joined the Cub Scouts while in the first grade. Scouting became his calling as he crossed into the Scouts BSA and worked tirelessly to become the second Eagle Scout of Troop 3 in Central Falls. Juan is bilingual, speaking Spanish and English fluently. He has 2 children, a daughter Jamila, who is 18, and a son Julian, who is 13. When not working, his hobbies include playing soccer, volleyball, running, bike riding, and vacationing with his children. Juan is currently engaged and will be getting married this year in Columbus. He is an Eagle Scout, a recipient of the National BSA President's Scout Reach Award, and a founding member and co-chair of the National Boy Scouts of America Hispanic Employee Affinity and Resource Group. Please join me in welcoming Juan Osorio.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. It is a pleasure to be in front of you today to speak a little bit about the Boy Scouts of America. I know how this works, and I will make sure we get out on time. And I'll try to keep you all engaged as we go through our presentation. But once again, thank you for having me. Some of you might know this, and some maybe not. It's not as common knowledge, but the Boy Scouts started here in Columbus thanks to the work and effort of this Rotary Club. Back a little over 100 years ago, the Rotary Club of Columbus put a team together of volunteers to go out and raise some money and go out and raise some awareness so that the Boy Scouts could start in Columbus. And as you can see, we're now here today, and we are offering a scouting program for just over 100 years here in Columbus. We're now known as the Chattahoochee Council. But this group of Rotarians ensured that there was enough publication so that our families in Columbus had the opportunity to join the scouting program. Today, we are known as the Chattahoochee Council. Oh, I might have clicked twice. No. However, some of us, when we think of scouting, this is the image that we have in our head. The reality is that scouting, like our community, has evolved for decades to meet the needs of today's families. Scouting really looks, and I'll get this clicker right, there it goes. Scouting really looks like this. We're a diverse program meeting the needs of today's families. And the families that we're targeting are families with millennial parents. And scouting is diverse in age, grade, and gender. However, while we have evolved over the years, the mission of the Boy Scouts of America has stayed the same for over 110 years. It is as relevant today as it was then, to prepare young men and women to make moral and ethical choices throughout their lifetime by showing them how to live by the Scout Oath and Law. Now, I'm going to run through some of our programs, and some of which you might know, some you might not. The first one is our Cub Scouting Program, which is for boys and girls, kindergarten through 5th grade. And while we do serve both genders, it is done in a single-gender environment. So the boys and girls come together for their weekly meetings. They do an opening ceremony similar to what we do in Rotary, and then they break up by grade and gender. So 1st grade girls will go to one area and do their meetings, and 1st grade boys to another area all the way through 5th grade. We then also have Scouts BSA, which is formerly known as Boy Scouting. And again, this program recently became available to females, but again, in a single gender aspect, where you have an all-male troop or an all-female troop, and that troop is running their own weekly meetings, their outdoor activities, and their campouts, completely independent from the other troops. So if it's an all-female group, they're doing all of their programming independently from the all-boy troop. Then we have our Venturing program, which is a fully co-ed program for boys and girls 14 to 20. And this is a high adventure program where these youth come together, they plan the high adventure activity, they fundraise for that high adventure activity, and then they go and they execute that the high adventure activity, doing things like skiing and snowboarding, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, sailing the Florida Keys, and so much more. It's really about learning how to budget and plan events. And then the last program that maybe is not so well known is our Exploring program. And this is a career education program for middle school and high school students to kind of allow them the opportunity to job shadow. So that way, when they graduate high school, they know what that career is like. And when they go to college, they know what they want to do and not spend 2 years in college changing majors, kind of like I did. Those are the programs that we have, and encompassing all of those programs, we serve 15 counties, 12 in Georgia and 3 in Alabama. And amongst those 15 counties, we serve nearly 2,000 youth on a weekly basis. Of those nearly 2,000 youth, we have 305 of them that are girls. The Boy Scouts of America, the Chattahoochee Council, we only have a staff of 10, some of which are here with me today. But we're able to do what we do because of the volunteers that help us deliver our program. And here locally, we have just over 800 volunteers that help us deliver a quality scouting program to the nearly 2,000 youth. And I'd like to ask a question. If you are or were a volunteer of the Boy Scouts at some point, could you just please raise your hand? I know we have several. Look at that. Outstanding. Well, let me be the first to thank you for your service to the Boy Scouts and to our community. In 2020, we all know what happened that year, and we're still going through it now, and it impacted all of our businesses, organizations, and our personal lives. But the Boy Scouts of America, thanks to our volunteers, we were able to adapt quickly and shift to virtual program. Weekly virtual meetings, weekly activities, weekly backyard campouts, weekly 30-day challenges. All of these were used through a virtual platform. But like we teach our scouts, we were prepared. And we were able to quickly adapt and allow our scouts to go back to outdoor programming. You see, the Boy Scouts of America is not a brick and mortar program, and we're able to go outdoors to provide a program and do it safely while staying 6 feet apart, wearing a mask, and following CDC guidelines. So by July of 2020, our scouts are back out there camping, hiking, fishing, and doing all the great things that scouting has to offer. One of the things that we're known for is the Eagle Scout rank, and our scouts work tirelessly to attain that rank. And only about 8% of our scouts actually make it to the rank of Eagle Scout. Last year, we had 53 of our scouts attain the rank of Eagle Scout. Now that's good because we are staying consistent year after year, hovering between 50 and 60 scouts attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. And one of the requirements to make it to Eagle Scout is to provide a community service project and lead your peers in that project. Well, last year we gave back more than 12,000 hours of community service in the communities that we serve. Now, if you grab that and multiply it by the median income in Georgia, the Chattahoochee Council gave back more than $11 million of service right back to our local communities. Now, you see some of those Eagle Scout projects, and I bumped into one when I first moved here. I was in the Botanical Gardens, and I'm walking through the trail, and every so often you'll see little benches for people to sit down, especially during the hot Georgia summers. Well, those little benches was an Eagle project. Or maybe you'll see Mercy Med in their outdoor area that they're doing. You'll see some raised beds and a little platform for shelter. That's an Eagle Scout project. Or at Paul's Humane Society, there's outdoor shelter for their dogs and little houses for their cats, for their stray cats. Those are Eagle Scout projects. And the list goes on and on. As a matter of fact, when we break these projects up, those are the 6 different categories, and you can see the level of the number of projects that we serve, that we did, and the number of hours that were completed for each of those projects. And I know that's very small, but the bar that is the greatest is serving other youth organizations, like the YMCA or the Boys and Girls Club, amongst others. Now in 2020, we had 53 Eagle Scouts. And for the first time ever, we had 3 female Eagle Scouts. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we did open our programs to females in 2019, and in 2020 was the first year that females had the opportunity to make it to Eagle Scout. These 3 young ladies became part of the inaugural female Eagle Scout class. Now, there was nearly 1,000 across the country. We had 3 here locally, and these young females are paving the way for thousands of other girls to follow. I'll tell you, as a father of an 18-year-old daughter, to me, it would have been an honor for her to be a Boy Scout and have the opportunity to be an Eagle Scout. The Chattahoochee Council is making sure that every youth that wants to be a Scout has the ability to do so regardless of their financial background. And we do that through a program called Scout Reach. And we've been focusing diligently on growing this program and making sure we're able to sustain it. And as we grow that program, we have to grow that program's funding. And so we're working now at the Boys and Girls Club. We're at Reese Road Elementary School. Just last week, we started a program at the Phoenix City Housing Authority. We're also working with Phoenix City Elementary School. We're working with the YMCA, with Mr. Chris, to start a program there as well, again, to ensure that all of our Scouts have the opportunity to enjoy our program regardless of their financial background. It's a commitment that we have to our low-income community and to Columbus as a whole. One of the many things that Scouting does, we all hear the leadership and the character that Scouting develops, but one of the things that we do is we create strong family bonds. We allow parents to enjoy their children while they're young by going camping and hiking and doing all these fun activities. It might be as simple as just being in a rowboat with your mom or dad. Or maybe you're shooting a bow and arrow next to them at a campout. It allows the opportunity for lifelong memories to be built and then in time be cherished as our children get older. We're able to do that because we have 2 beautiful facilities. We have Camp Frank G. Lumpkin in LaGrange, Georgia, and we have Camp Pine Mountain in West Point. And those camps are utilized by our Scouts on a regular basis. But a little known fact is those camps are also available to other nonprofits, youth organizations, religious entities, and corporations. You can go out there and do a board retreat. You could do a staff development. You could do leadership development by simply renting out a piece or all of our facility. So if you'd like more information on that, please come and see me at the end of the meeting or at one of our next Rotary meetings, and I'll be able to connect you with the right person to book our facilities. Now, when I say Boy Scout camping, we're not talking about latrines. We have flushable toilets. We have air-conditioned bunkhouses. We have this picture here is an air-conditioned dining hall with an industrial-sized kitchen. We have an in-ground junior Olympic-sized pool, stand-up paddleboards and kayaks and motorboats and jet skis, and we have a lot of great things that you could do at camp. So you could camp in a tent, or you could camp in an air-conditioned bunkhouse, whatever you choose. But we'll accommodate to you, your staff, or your congregation. I would like now to introduce Mr. Matt Barkley. I think a lot of people know Matt. He's a volunteer of this community, and he's a board member of the Chattahoochee Council, Boy Scouts of America. Matt?
Thanks, Juan. Juan asked me last night, he's like, hey, can you read for me? And I said, when I knew this was happening, I said, absolutely. I couldn't not say no. I could never say no to this. So as an Eagle Scout, I will tell you the trail to being an Eagle Scout is never over. From time to time, we do pause on the trail for a very special tribute, though. We're privileged today to be presenting the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. This prestigious honor is given to an Eagle Scout who has uncommonly demonstrated his commitment to making our community a better place to live and to achieving a career and life success. It is rarely presented. In fact, only one of every 1,000 Eagle Scouts has been awarded this high honor. We are privileged today to have the opportunity to bestow this special award. The recipient will join the ranks of some well-known Eagle Scouts. Only 7 men have been previously so honored from our local council. We are blessed to have one of them here with us today. It is my honor to introduce to you Distinguished Eagle Scout, Brigadier General Retired Rodney Barham. Colonel Ralph Puckett Jr. became an Eagle Scout on July 29, 1942. Colonel Puckett has distinguished himself and brought honor to scouting and the U.S. Army with his distinguished service as a very visible public figure and with his career achievements. He is indeed a role model for all Scouts, and certainly all Eagle Scouts. Accepting on behalf of Colonel Puckett will be Colonel Rob Chapa. Will Eagle Scout Alex Ivy please escort Colonel Chapa to the stage? I now call on Distinguished Eagle Scout Rod Barham to begin the award ceremony.
It is my special privilege to present a resolution from the National Eagle Scout Association. Whereas Colonel Ralph Puckett Jr. earned the Eagle rank as a member of the Boy Scouts of America 79 years ago on July 29, 1942. And whereas an Eagle Scout, he continued to serve God, his country, and other people following the principles of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. And whereas he achieved distinction as an Army officer, and whereas he has given distinguished service to his community and the nation, serving 22 years as an active duty United States Army officer, retiring as colonel, earning numerous awards, including the Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, 5 Purple Hearts, induction into the Ranger Hall of Fame, and after retirement, serving as the National Programs Director for Outward Bound Incorporated, founder of Discovery Incorporated in Herndon, Virginia, and Discovery Program Director at the Westminster Schools in Atlanta, Georgia. And now, therefore, in recognition of these and other achievements and the desire of the Boy Scouts of America, upon nomination by the Chattahoochee Council, acting on behalf of the Executive Board of the Boy Scouts of America, the honor and rank of Distinguished Eagle Scout is awarded and conferred on Colonel Retired Ralph Puckett Jr. Congratulations.
As I talked to Ralph and Jeannie Puckett, they expressed their sorrow that they couldn't be here today to participate. Ralph's feeling a little under the weather. He did tell me, as we talked, and he drew comparison between the scouting oath and the Ranger Creed and his vows of marriage and all of the important things that you do in your life. And he said, scouting was the most important developmental thing that he ever did. So take that today. Encourage others to be Boy Scouts. Juan, thank you for this program, and I will give your message to Ralph. Thank you.
I appreciate your participation and attendance in today's program. As is customary, I guess we'll open it up for some questions if that's okay. Are there any questions? Wow. Well, either I bored you to death or I answered all your questions in advance. I appreciate that.
Quick question.
Yes.
What year again were girls admitted?
So we've had girls in 2 of our programs, which is Venturing and Exploring, for over 40 years. But in 2019, we opened up our Cub Scouting Program and our Scouts BSA programs to females. Yes, sir.
What is the relationship now with Girl Scouts?
Well, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts are 2 completely separate organizations, 2 separate 501c3s. Again, I'll speak personally as a father of a daughter. To me, if my daughter is able to earn the Gold Award through the Girl Scouts and the Eagle Scout Award through the Boy Scouts, it just gives her an advantage in life. It's an opportunity for her and for every girl. While we have similar missions, our delivery methods differ a little bit, and it's not one or the other. It's having the opportunity to participate in both. Yes, sir. Great question. I appreciate that. So yes, ma'am. How can our youth, specifically in inner city areas, get involved in scouting? Well, I will say any youth can get involved in scouting by simply going to beascout.org or just Google search scouting for Boy Scouts, and it'll pop up at the top of that Google page. And for those of you that have an organization or are part of or run a youth program or a church, there's a little form at your table for you to get involved, or for your organization to get involved as well if you would like to host a pack or a troop or a group of boys or girls to be in scouting, or if you yourself would like to get involved. Great question.
You had mentioned a special program that will help pay the expenses. So there may be some children in the inner city who can't afford it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The question is that we have a special program to help low-income families ensure that they're able to receive a quality scouting program. The answer to that question is yes. It's called Scout Reach, and it's our vehicle to ensure that we attract low-income families and heavily subsidize the program for those families through our own fundraising and partnerships in the community. So that is there, and as a matter of fact, that's the program that I came up through, and the only reason I was able to be a scout was because of that program, and so we want to make sure that we extend that to every youth and every family that is interested. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. The question is, if you wanted to sponsor a youth to be a scout, can you participate with them? And the answer to that question is yes. First and foremost, we are a family-based program, so we always want families to attend with their children, but we also have volunteers and individuals that are involved in the program that maybe don't have kids in the program any longer or don't have kids in the program at all. And I'll give an example. Board member Dr. Ron Williams doesn't have a scout in the program, but he is a volunteer of ours as well. So yes, absolutely, you could be a part of the program with the child you want to sponsor.
Anybody else?
Very good. Well, once again, thank you for your time.
And when I remember, shortly after I joined Rotary, I used to sit over here with George Jeter, and George was a huge advocate of the Boy Scouts and got me involved. I didn't know anything about it, and so just so many wonderful advocates here in this club for scouting. So thank you for that program. As a Rotarian, you also know that we will be putting a children's book inscribed with your name in the public library. Thank you. So remember that today's program will replay on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the many visitors and guests today, especially to Master Sergeant Beauchamp. I said your name correctly 2 times, so we're counting, aren't we? So it's wonderful to have you, because he can tell you that I messed it up about 3 times when I met him. And also, don't forget, we have our breakfast mix this Friday. Michael Tollier will be our speaker. And Julie is urging me to urge you to pick up your directories. We still have a few left out there. Now, you know who you are. If you don't have your directory at home, it's in the back, so please pick it up. And it was also on your bill this month. So you definitely want to pick it up because you paid for it. You won't want to miss next week's program, where we will have Fred Maglione with Omega Phi as our speaker. So until we meet again next week, let's continue to make a difference. Great job.